Hi BookTube, it's Amy again. Welcome to my rug on the floor here. So I just thought I'd take a couple of minutes to give you a closer look at this beautiful illustrated Hugh Thomson illustrated edition of Quality Street by Barrie that arrived for me today. So as you can see, we have the front board here. Three ladies having tea at this elegant little tea table, and they are surrounded by this ring of teacups. We have a teapot down here, a lovely floral design that gives way to butterflies at the top of the illustration. So we've got the title of the play here, A Comedy in 4 Acts by Barrie, and the illustrator's name at the bottom here. A little girl who appears to be crying, and a little boy playing a drum, along with two what appears to be small children, or perhaps cupids or cherubs of some sort, in baskets. And if we flip this to its side, the spine is significantly faded. It's certainly not as bright as the front board, but we've got, once again, the title of the play, Quality Street, A Comedy in 4 Acts, Barrie, illustrated by Hugh Thomson. And we've got this lovely little basket of flowers hanging by some ribbon here. And the back of the book is just plain purple. So we open it up, and there is quite a bit of foxing on this first page here. So we have a copyright in the dramatic form in England and in America by Charles Froham in 1901, and I'm not sure who this Charles is. So that's something curious I can perhaps look up. And it's difficult to tell exactly what year this is. The seller indicated that it might have been 1913 because we have the original copyright date of the play, but we don't have the publication date of this particular edition. We have this funny little illustration here of this, this portly man who I guess is about to go off to war. And she is holding out in an odd manner what looks to be a newspaper of sorts. And these are just lovely illustrations. These illustrations are so much nicer than the ones in the Admirable Crichton. And I like the ones in the Admirable Crichton, but these are just beautiful. And in my little bit of research that I've done on Hugh Thomson, he did illustrations for a number of beautiful editions of Jane Austen's work, for some of Charles Dickens' works. And if you look him up, you'll find all sorts of wonderful illustrations from about the turn of the century. And he really had quite a prolific career in illustrating, I guess. And so this page here is a little bit loose, but what we have here is, let me get this to focus. We have a small black and white image here. And as with the Admirable Crichton, this small image and small images like it are repeated throughout the book. Then we have this lovely illustration here. Hodder and Stoughton, that's the publisher. And so this would be one of the ladies. It's hard to tell which sister it is here, but in her school teacher days. We begin with Act 1, the blue and white room. And I'm just going to flip through here and try to show you some of the best illustrations. So here we have Valentine visiting the two ladies at the start of the play. The elder sister and the younger sister there. And at this point, he is oblivious. He's treating this house as though he's visiting, I don't know, two maiden aunts. And he doesn't realize that when he goes off to that war, he's going to miss this blue and white parlor. And he's going to leave Phoebe a little bit heartbroken. And we have this lovely illustration here. And it's interesting because a lot of these illustrations actually remind me of some of the, contemporary adaptations of like Jane Austen novels that have been done. It's very much in that style. And from what I understood, Thomson would go to libraries and he would immerse himself in historical costumes so that he could accurately draw these illustrations for works that were historical fiction, such as this play, which is set during the Napoleonic Wars. And he would spend time in libraries taking notes, and then off he would go with his notes and his sketches, and he would create these wonderful illustrations, oftentimes with pen and ink, and sometimes more elaborate in color, such as these ones here. And of course, I've noticed online that his illustrations for Pride and Prejudice, and I think for Emma as well, are widely available. They've been reprinted, but I'm not sure if these ones from Quality Street have been reprinted in recent times. So here is Phoebe as the school teacher. She's got her beautiful ringlets covered up. She is a proper old maid here, and she is teaching her pupils to dance. And there's another slightly loose page here. And I did note when I was showing this book earlier that at the beginning of the book here, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it well enough again, but here we go. I have 2 blank pages and it feels as though something is missing, or there's this weird little bit here. And so either something is missing or somebody has rebound a couple of pages in a different order, hoping I won't notice. But either way, it is a bit of a mystery to me why there are 2 blank pages here, because there's no outline like this indicating that a picture is missing. It's just 2 odd blank pages. And I'd have to do a little bit of digging, comparison of other copies, maybe find a bibliography somewhere to discover what exactly is missing from my edition here. So here is another illustration here. There's Phoebe, and she's got this little boy on her lap who's wearing a dunce cap because he misbehaved. So Quality Street is the story of Phoebe, who is 20 when she first meets Valentine, and she is in love with him. She puts her trust in him. She and Miss Susan where's that illustration? I'm looking for a particular illustration I saw here. Well, that's not it, but that one's quite interesting. So Phoebe falls in love with Valentine. He goes off to fight in the wars, doesn't come back for 10 years. She has resigned herself to being an old maid. She decided that he didn't love her. And she has put on a cap and become a respectable school teacher. She is hiding her youthful looks. And Valentine, he's been away fighting in this war. He's sort of started to think of Phoebe again. And so he comes back. He's been dreaming of this blue and white room of Phoebe and her sister. And he comes back and he finds her old. And so Phoebe is a little bit torn, and she puts together this plot to become her own niece, which sounds a little bit strange, but that's exactly what she does. She becomes her own niece and starts to flirt with Valentine and go out to dances with him, and Valentine is completely taken in by this. And of course things escalate from there, and it's got quite a funny ending. But the illustrations in this edition are absolutely gorgeous. Here's some of the ladies playing cards. Some roses in the beginning of Act 4. I'm assuming this is meant to be a Cupid here. I don't know who the woman with the spear hiding in the rose thorns is. Phoebe, pretending to be her own niece here, is a shocking flirt. Or so Valentine says to her, not knowing that she's Phoebe, of course. Miss Livy. Miss Livy is the name of this niece that she's made up. And of course it's difficult because of course Phoebe and her niece, Miss Livy, can never be in the room at the same time. And the neighbors never see them together. And the neighbors had no idea that there even was a niece. And so here is poor Miss Livy is ill, and there is Valentine seeing to her. Printed by T&A Constable Printers, to His Majesty at the Edinburgh University Press. So that's quite spotted as well. But it just seems to be at the end and the front of the book, and everything in between is quite fine. Oh, here we go. I'm seeing in the corner that this illustration has a name and date on it. So 1913. So that would suggest that this edition was originally published in 1913, but of course I'm not sure whether this is the first of this edition or whether it is, a second or a third printing of it. But either way, it is gorgeous, and as I said earlier, a beautiful addition to my J.M. Barrie collection. And I do have a biography of Hugh Thomson coming, and so I'm going to learn a lot more about him and about his illustrations.